everybody. It's Linda G and our man about town, Sterling.
Welcome. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me on board again, Linda. Yeah.
I love those flowers.
Well, the biggest kept secret is they're all silk.
Oh, they're beautiful, though.
Linda has them throughout the house. I know a lot of people had commented thinking they're being taken care of very well and growing very well, but they're all silk.
So, yelling at you on the side.
So I just gave away a secret, but that's okay. Right. So,
and also, for some reason, Sterling thought I wasn't going to do a free read when he hit a mark again. He hit 20,000, and I was waiting for my free read, and I just reminded him, yes, I'm still doing free read. So he's going to, his wife will pick somebody, and you will get a free reading from me because he hit 20,000.
Exactly. We'll announce that probably on the community board. I'll put that on the community board.
Okay.
Or pass it to you individually, and we'll get it out there.
Now, listen, you didn't really ask for this, so I don't want you to be embarrassed, but I asked Linda if she could kind of give me a list of the things that you predicted that came true. I just thought it'd be kind of fun for the beginning of the year. And oh my God, there's too many pages. There's too many pages for me to read it off. But what I'm going to do is link it on my page. It says, because she did a great job. I'm going to say, why did I want to say Trump? I'm going to say Sterling's predictions. Sterling's predictions come true. He said, on just a few of these, he said Elizabeth Holmes would be found guilty. He said that the Haiti missionary family would be released, which I also predicted. He said a 6.2 earthquake hits Northern California. So he was predicting earthquakes. I still see more earthquakes.
There are more.
Elon Musk faces China backlash in close encounter space accident. And you had said there was going to be a space accident. I still see an accident. I don't know if it's Virgin or if it's Musk with actual like human beings up there. So I don't know. That's going to happen. The censure. House votes to censure Rep. Gozar and remove him from all committees. This was forecasted exactly the way it turned out by my angels and guides on last Sunday, November 14th. Perfect. There's so many here. The J&J boosters, you were real good about boosters. The rapid withdrawal from Afghanistan. Oh my God. So you just kind of do it and you just, I'm going to post this. I didn't sit down and do my correct ones because, I'm too late, but.
Now, I always just want to lay it out there that I like to think of myself as a big telephone or a good interpreter for my guides and angels. So I am trying to put myself out of that loop. I try to be a good communicator. I do try to do that.
How did you guys do with the
I was going to mention one other little thing real quick. Okay. One of the things I try to do then is in order so that everybody can kind of see how the universe works is I always try to tag it to a news story. So here's the prediction, then here's the news story that came out so that, people understand how the universe works. And it's not necessarily random. There's a lot of people looking out after us. And so that's how the basis in truth kind of comes out. And so I want overall to be helpful to people to understand how the universe works. That's really what it's about.
Right. And it's good to get confirmation.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Now, how did you guys do with tsunami? Did any of your shores get hurt?
Oh, the tsunami we're talking about on the West Coast. No, I mean, I think there was some minor activity going on because of the Tanga earthquake, underground volcano and tsunami. Yeah, no, I think we're okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had some damage up here. Santa Cruz got hit the worst. And we used to stay at a place called the Dream Inn. And there's a pool down below. It's like a tall tower right against the ocean. And there's a pool. And they showed a picture of the steps you would take down to go to the beach. Mm-hmm. Totally being hit by waves.
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah. So there was some damage.
Now, one thing I was going to mention to you, because this goes back a couple of months ago, but we talked about the La Palma and the volcano going off there. And my guide said that, just stay tuned because there's going to be some shifting of plates. There's going to be some earthquakes and it will create a tsunami, that overall effect. So what happened here at Tonga is part of like the ring of fire for earthquakes. And so we're going to see things kind of come up through the ring of fire, even though that was kind of near to Australia.
Right.
This is still coming over the next number of months. So
Did this start something, or is this just a connection?
it's a continuation of the things going around kind of the ring of fire of
So
linking all these volcanoes.
Is La Palma near the Canary Islands?
No, I don't have a map in front of me right now, but I know it's obviously very close to Italy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I need to get to Italy soon before it crashes into the water. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we've got our questions. Thank you guys very much. Thank you to Daniel and to your lovely wife, who they go through it and pick them out and, try not to repeat questions.
Exactly. I always try to do timestamps. Andrew does a wonderful job doing the timestamps for these shows.
Thank
So
you, Andrew.
thank you, Andrew. Andrew, shout out.
Okay, so will Tucker Carlson ever face any consequences for all the lies he has spread? Was he involved in the J6 riots?
Well, so they're telling me he was part of the linkage of communication. So I don't know about defining, let's say, direct involvement. He was part of the linkage of communication. And I do see there's going to be some difficult times for him in terms of indictments, but it looks like it's almost like when they do a big arrest of a lot of people all at once, or it looks like part of Congress and part of people that were around government and people in the news that were part of the inner sanctum, if you will. So he'll get swept up in that.
Yeah. Fantastic. I mean, we don't want to wish bad on someone, but it's just in fact, 45 did a big event. Where was it? Was it in Arizona? Where he lost, by the way. Once again, saying that this was a fraud. He didn't mention the 7 states that fraudulently tried to do electoral votes. Exactly. But anyway, but the stuff he's saying, and he was even kind of asking for action once again. So it's kind of tough. He's got to stop with this nonsense.
For entertainment purposes only.
Yes, for entertainment purposes only. I just noticed that's it. Okay, in North Carolina, 11 voters filed a challenge with the State Board of Elections to Madison Cawthorn as a candidate for re-election on the grounds that he is disqualified by the 3rd section of the 14th Amendment, which prohibits anyone from holding office who having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States, or as a member of any state legislator, or as an executive or judicial officer of any state, to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. Will voters in other states do the same for U.S. congressional insurrectionists in their states? This was, by the way, a whole bunch of people got kicked out during Abraham Lincoln's time.
Yeah, what they're telling me is that this is the start of what's going to become more a normality here, more of a normal situation. And I do see they're showing me, like, even if some congressional people get voted in, or people in politics, that even after they already get voted in, they'll get pulled out, and then there'll be like emergency elections. So they may win their election, but then when this comes down, it's okay, now you're out of office because now of what you did. So I see all these like a lot of emergency elections to put other candidates in their place.
Wow. So
yeah, it's coming. Yeah.
That's like 100 Congress. Is it 100 congressmen or senators?
Well, I mean, right now they're showing me like 25. So I know there's 100, but I'm seeing like 25. But it looks like it's going to roll out over the next number of months, let's say 6 to 12 months. So we'll start to see it. And then by the time we get out here this time, next year, it's in full swing. And a lot of people have been challenged and pulled out of office. So, yeah.
Okay. Will all those who participated in preparing, signing, submitting to include notarizing a set fraudulent electoral documents from the 5 states, Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, Michigan, Wisconsin, be held accountable and charged with a felony?
They will, and there's a 2-part to this. It's kind of interesting. So the initial people that did this will, and then there's going to be some sort of legislation passed where it almost like mandatory prison time if you try to fraudulently like overturn an election. It'll get down to some like constitutional issue. If you try to overturn an election, it's like mandatory, like 5-year prison time or something. So there's
Right.
something coming behind this that's also going to put some teeth in it.
Well, it's already written in the books. It's law that you can't do this. If you can't fraudulently change
Correct.
something or try to change something. So they're committing fraud. So yay. So how is the New York Attorney General Alvin Bragg going to do with this investigation of the Trump org? Will Alvin Bragg prosecute Donald Trump and the Trump organization? Entertainment purposes only.
Yeah, absolutely. Entertainment purposes only. It's interesting. That question was framed in a good way because my guys are saying it's going to roll out like in 2 different tiers. So it looks like the organization is going to be hit hard first, 45's organization or Trump organization. And then behind that will be all the specific things for 45. So it's almost like a 2-tier kind of a rollout of the charges.
Okay. You keep saying the Dems will keep the House and the Senate. However, the numbers are we at this time expected to lose 37 seats in the House, heavily gerrymandered, and lose 3 seats in the Senate. Ask your guides what happens to swing in Dems' favor.
So there's a couple of forces and drivers here. So it's not exclusive just to one element. One of the most important elements is that you're going to have a massive voter turnout. That's one of the first things.
Yeah.
The second thing is that there is some portion of the voting rights bill / For the People Act that gets passed after it's modified, but it gets passed. Also, they're going to utilize some modification of the filibuster. So they're going to get some modification through that you can't use the filibuster if it's constitutional or a voting rights issue or something here. And I do see them swinging more votes to get it done. So if it ends up being a simple majority or something, they get it done. So there's a collective effect here of a number of things that kind of get it across the finish line and allow us to maintain the House and the Senate. So it's going to be a fight to the finish.
It's going to be a fight, that I knew.
Fight to the finish.
And it might even be what you said, that certain people that are in there will get taken out because of fraud.
Right.
Yeah.
A number of factors here. And also I want to say something else here that I think is very, very important. Everything that we think creates a reality in the universe. So for everybody out there that's a light worker, and probably a lot of light workers are watching this channel, it does no good to say, holy mackerel, everything's going to crash and burn. That's not a good thing. I mean, talk with your guides and angels, get the information. It's going to be a fight to the finish. Nothing worth having. It always takes a fight, but stand tough, stand tall, and we're going to get there. So.
Okay. Yeah. Well, as we get closer, we can define it more, but
Sure.
Yeah, I definitely feel the same. Indiana Life Insurance CEO says deaths are up 40% among people ages 18 to 64. Just to give you an idea how bad it is, a 1 in 200-year catastrophe would be a 10% increase over pre-pandemic, he said. So 40% is just unheard of. Most of the claims for death being filed are not classified as COVID. Davison said, would your guides explain what is happening?
They are COVID deaths.
They are, yeah.
So they are COVID deaths without a doubt. And they're telling me better than 90% of them are COVID deaths.
Thank
But
you.
what's happening is either the information is being obstructed because of life insurance reasons or some other legal reason, or, non-vaxxers, but there's a whole, and they're even telling me that even some autopsies aren't being done. So these are COVID deaths, but they're not being, cataloged and categorized that way because of a number of reasons. Yeah.
I got to ask you real quick in between all this. Now that the insurance companies are talking about raising rates on people who don't get vaccinated, I just thought, do you think life insurance might even say, hey, listen, if you didn't get your vaccine, we're not going to cover your death?
Yeah, no, 100% that's going to happen, because remember, this COVID pandemic is not a 1 year or 2 year thing. It's going to be like a 10-year thing. Now, don't get all worried. We'll have vaccines, and things will help. But it's going to get to a point where financially the insurance companies can't sustain the loss. They can't
sustain it. As it is, they're already gone through hell.
So it's a business decision, yeah.
What is the future of American journalism? Will we have more watchdogs or lapdogs?
Yeah. Well, what they're telling me is there's going to be a lot of artificial intelligence that's going to be integrated technology into journalism. So it'll do automatic fact checking. So there'll be instantaneous fact checking on things that come out. And they're going to use the AI technology over the next 8 years here to have really more of a substantive backdrop or backstop against having to do with journalism and screening journalism. Yeah. So AI, artificial technology will be very important.
All right. A potentially hazardous asteroid twice the height of the Empire State Building will have a close encounter with Earth January 18th and again in July 2022. Will the double asteroid redirection test, DART, be successful in redirecting the asteroid?
Well, first off, the asteroid's not going to hit. And secondly, they're saying that DART test, I think it's called DART, that's not going to be successful. So what it means is that it's not going to be able to change the trajectory of the asteroid they're trying to hit. So the test won't be successful, but the big asteroid won't hit us. And they're also reminding me that the ETs or alien friends actually do whatever they can to sustain life here on Earth. And they actually, they've mastered anti-gravity technology. So
wow.
they won't let one hit. That's
before you even said that, I was feeling like spaceships.
Yeah, no, they won't let it happen. And anti-gravity technology is very common for a lot of extraterrestrial friends. That's how they move at 8 times the speed of gravity, and
right.
They can sustain 8 times the pull of gravity in some of the ships they have. Yeah,
fascinating. How are your birth guardian angels assigned to you? Do you ever have the same ones in different lifetimes?
Well, there's an agreement before you come down. So before you come down with your life plan, your blueprint, you meet with your birth angels and your starting out team, if you will, of guides. And so everybody agrees on the way down. But when you're down here on the planet, your birth angels stay with you for life. Your guides will trade out depending on what it is you're doing. And when you go back, you certainly have the ability to change it up and switch it out depending on what your life path is. So there's a lot of free will there. Yeah.
Yes. Is the voting rights bill going to pass? We just sort of discussed.
I think we just answered that one. Yeah.
Did you see states redrawing their districting maps and stop gerrymandering like Ohio is being required to do by the Ohio Supreme Court? Wait, do you see states redrawing their districting maps and stop gerrymandering like Ohio is being required to do so by the Ohio Supreme Court? Well, that's good news.
Yeah, I mean, the answer here is there's going to be a process involved here. It's not going to happen overnight, but incrementally, just the way that gerrymandering is going on right now and changing certain districts, it's going to start to reverse course. And as these bills get passed, they'll start to change it back again.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of a cycle here, if you will. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Will Texas go through another ice storm in 2022? Will the power be cut off? And lastly, do you see the ERCOT company being replaced in the future in Texas?
Unfortunately, it looks like in 2022, there's 2 more kind of power grid failure events, whether one's around summer, one's around winter. And that utility, ERCOT, I think it's like the Electric Reliability Council of Texas or something. They're not going to do it on their own, but I see eventually a Build Back Better program being passed. And so the money from the BBB is going to end up bolstering the ERCOT, the utility that's there right now.
Okay.
So that's how it's going to happen. But yeah, 2 more outages looks like in 2022. Good news is, though, it looks like they only last for a number of days. It doesn't go beyond a week. Yeah, it doesn't, a good number of days.
Poor Texan people froze to death. That's just awful.
It is. It is.
So, okay. I would like to know about the radicalization of the military. Is white supremacy among the ranks?
100%. And so it's across even, police departments, some police departments across the nation. The good news is what I'm being told is because of the ongoing investigations of the FBI and the CIA, with a number of the insurrectionists, they're actually able to they're starting to weed out and identify who those people are.
Good.
So the answer is yes, and they're starting to identify them and weed them out. It's going again a process.
Okay.
Probably take a good year here for that to happen, but yeah.
I really had a strong feeling, you might have discussed this too, but I really had a strong feeling part of Merrick Garland's problem when he got into the DOJ is there was too many Trumpsters in there.
Absolutely, and
filter it
there
out.
still are.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you guys have any information about Russia invading Ukraine? If Putin does this, will there be severe consequences? And you heard he was going to try to hit his own people, acting like they were Ukrainian, so he could start a war.
Yeah, I've seen this now for a few weeks, and I see it here again. There's going to be a skirmish. I'm going to call it a skirmish. There's going to be something at the border, because it's like Putin can't say no. He's already got all these wheels, this momentum going. But the skirmish will be stopped fairly quickly. I mean, there's going to be some loss of life, unfortunately. It's never good.
Right.
But it gets shut down pretty quickly by the Biden administration and a number of world nations.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
There's a skirmish coming up, but it doesn't go very far. Yeah.
His people don't want him to do this. They don't want war.
Yeah. Well,
So
I feel
my
like
prediction, I saw him running. And so I'm often wondering does that mean he does this and kind of pisses people off and they come after him? This may be the beginning of his end in his reign.
Willie, and what I see is he's still trying to, for some reason, he's got, let's say, some debts to pay back to some oligarchs.
Yeah.
So this is something he's saying, look, it's one last push to
Right.
try to, come through with what's right for Mother Russia or whatnot. And but anyway, yeah,
they always like to cheat.
Right.
Will there be issues with the Supreme Court over blocking 46 mandates of the big companies being allowed to let people not be vaccinated for the virus?
Ask that question again. The front end of it, I didn't get.
The Supreme Court said that they can't order people to get vaccinated or order the big companies to have people. So I imagine in Texas and Florida, you're still going to have people say, oh, that's cool. Nobody has to get vaccinated. But I still see, companies in California and stuff doing it.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm seeing is that the answer to that question is that it's not a big effect, the Supreme Court decision, because I see a majority of very large companies, major companies, still issuing a mandate. Like if you want to work here, you have to get vaccinated. So yes, they didn't get the Supreme Court endorsement, but I still see a majority of 2/3 of a lot of major companies saying you have to get vaccinated.
What I just heard where you were saying that? Just heard is clear as day. Because they need the workers and they can't afford for people to be taken off and paying all these increases in premiums due to COVID. So they can say, well, the government made me do it so they don't have the Trumpsters on them. But the other part is they need the workers, and this causes many days of being off work.
Right.
Will the military ever stop playing? They're still playing Fox News on all their TVs located at bases.
Yeah, I mean, this year I see a big change coming. I'm just being told that they'll start playing alternate news sources, NPR, CNN, MSNBC, but that's going to start to change as a result of a lot of the nonsense that went on in the 45 White House. So I do see them rolling out, it looks like 4 different options to me. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Why was Melania auctioning off her white hat and outfit? Does she need the money? She said a portion of it will go to charity, so that's $1.63.
Yeah, she absolutely needs the money. They're telling me there's some legal court cases coming up, and she actually believes she needs something like several $100,000 to fight those cases.
Okay.
So she's something like $400,000 or $500,000, and it's not, for whatever reason, she can't easily get it from Mr. 45, or he's got financial
paying his debt. Yeah.
Right.
Do any alien races have some sort of prohibition against interfering in human destiny? Wow. If not, is there a way we could ask them for help?
So they're already helping. So that's a bit of a misnomer. They're already completely engaged with humankind, but they don't get involved at the micro level. So they get more involved at the macro level, not the micro level of making sure that, Linda Grindle makes it to the supermarket on Thursday. They don't get involved in that, but they make sure that the supermarket's not hit by a nuclear explosion. So more the macro level, not the micro level. So yeah.
Okay, that's so cool. Will there be any groundbreaking information for those suffering with TMJ?
Yeah, within 8 years, it could be as much as 10 years, but this is all coming out of CRISPR technology. So, the TMJ problem relates to the hinge that attaches the jaw to the skull, right? But that's going to come out of CRISPR technology. And so this is a way to get the body to kind of restore that hinge, the health of the hinge. So yeah, it's coming.
Will poaching end soon in Africa?
Yeah, at first they said it's like 2 decades, but it may be faster than that. But the reason it's going to start to end is that when here it gets back a little bit here, big things happen when the ETs start getting involved. So people understand the nature of animals and how the universe works and what destroyed the universe, 3 times ago, and we're on the 4th round.
Right.
And so all that kind of puts humanity into a better place of understanding animals. And so there actually won't be a need to poach so much anymore. So yeah.
Great. Regarding Kamala Harris at the DNC headquarters on January 6th, Harris was evacuated from the DNC when a pipe bomb was found outside the building. Question: why wasn't the pipe bomb located by security before Harris arrived at the DNC?
Manpower problems. So they had a shortage of people and couldn't address everything. It was like, trying to fight a forest fire with a hose. So yeah.
Will the power of 1% be diminished or removed so that our economy becomes more, how do you say this word? Egalitarian? Egalitarian? And money flows more freely to everyone?
Yeah, I mean, it has to do with the principle of everyone being treated fairly and equal opportunity for everybody. Egalitarian.
Egalitarian. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think the question is, when will that ever happen? I think that was the question. Will it ever happen? It'll happen, but this is going to take a few decades because we're still going to have fighting in all the world's nation for power and wealth and control. That's a human characteristic. So it's going to take a few decades still. But we're in a 3-decade healing mode right now that started in 2020. So the 3 decades, this will have Nostradamus forecast. So a lot of it's going to get taken care of within this 3-decade period.
Fantastic. Do you see anything coming up this week?
I see much more press coverage and difficulty for Mark Meadows for some reason. Yeah. And I see Nancy Pelosi coming out in public. And for some reason, there's more decrees being done by Nancy Pelosi this week on subpoenas and the insurrection. Kevin McCarthy looks like he's going to be under some fire here for some new difficulties. More vaccine announcements from another new vaccine manufacturer.
Okay.
Yeah. And it looks like actually some of these vaccines are going to prove to be very good for children. So actually more tests, more being released this week on vaccines for children like 5 to 11 and 5 and under.
Fantastic. Real quick, before I ask the last question, do you see Meadows maybe getting Garland finally coming up and saying, yeah, we're going to subpoena him? Will he get a subpoena?
Yeah, and it looks like it's coming from the commission, right?
Well, no, they asked the DOJ to do it.
Oh, because they passed it across to the DOJ. Yeah, no, I do see that all moving forward. Maybe that's what they're telling me.
Maybe that's what's coming up next week.
More difficulty for McCarthy and Meadows. It's like it's the M&M, the double M's.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you have anything you guys want to share?
They do. For this week, the clear message from them in unison is make sure you manifest what you want. Don't manifest what you don't want. So just be clear about what you're focusing on. And this also resonates with all the voting rights acts and the filibuster and all the things. Unfortunately, it's too easy to kind of jump off the rails and not focus on manifesting what you want.
Right.
So that's the message this week. Make sure you clearly do that because we're all very good manifestors. So.
Yes, very good. Very good. Thank you so much, my friend.
And always a quick note, if anybody wants to reach me, it's sterlingpsychicmedium.com and just look for the book a session tab. So it's very easy.
There you go. And as you guys know, I retire after 2022. So I'm booked. You can't book with me, but I have Sterling on my list of recommendations. So,
Thank you for doing that.
Get to him before he gets booked like me. All right,
All
you
good.
guys. Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
Pleasure.